Okay, microphone number one. Podium microphone number one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. You all good? All right. Top of it, man. We got Nolan Wells autopsy results. What's up, James? How you feeling? Top of the morning. Man, we wait for these, they're about to start these Nolan Well autopsy results. So guys, sit tight, go ahead and hit that like button when you come in, man. We're gonna stream this thing live, man, and see it up close and personal, firsthand, because everybody, everywhere you go, everybody got their theories and all that extra stuff, but we're gonna get to see it in a minute. They about to start. They're supposed to start at 6 o'clock, so they're gonna be starting any minute. So do not go anywhere, man. Share this live. What's up, Jan? Share this live. We're gonna get the results live. I'll be right back, man. Get your coffee, man, and sit down and let's get it, man. We're gonna watch this shit live this morning. I want you to have a beautiful day as well. All right, man. I know y'all itching to know the results to this autopsy, but here's the thing, man. They about to show it. Tino, who are you talking to? Racist, bro. I'm not a racist. But don't come in here with the ignorant shit. Come on, man. I don't know who did what to him. That's why we finna watch. That's why we're about to watch the press conference here when they started in a minute and see what the autopsy results show. But I don't appreciate you calling me a racist. Don't come in here with the ignorant shit, Tino. This is grown folks' time over here. But it just came on and tested the mic, so they about to start any minute. It's supposed to start at 6 o'clock. So I'm interested to know these facts. So yeah, man. Hey, don't go anywhere, man. They're about to start this press conference any second. This is streaming live, and it's going to they're about to drop these Nolan Wells results. But other than that, man, how's everybody doing this morning, man? Where you guys from? Am I here, of course, in Las Vegas, Nevada? I'm out here in Las Vegas, Nevada, of course, chilling. I'm going to cover the Tupac trial. I'm going to stream that live for you guys and actually get down to the courthouse and see what I can see. That starts in August, here in a couple weeks. Top of the morning, everybody coming in. They're about to drop these results, these Nolan Wells results, here in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere, people. You're going to have firsthand information here in the next few minutes of what happened to Nolan Wells. They were, of course, everybody always late. They're supposed to start this thing at 6 o'clock Pacific time. I'm on the West Coast. I'm in Las Vegas. So actually 8 o'clock Central time. They've already come on. They test the mics, but they about to start this thing. So don't go anywhere. Make sure you hit the like button, man, and share this live so we can get some real information out instead of everybody just assuming that something, what happened to this young boy, young 18-year-old. So don't go nowhere, people. Don't go nowhere.
Good morning. Good morning. If everyone could take your seat, we'll get started with the press conference in roughly 2 minutes. If everyone can take your seats, we'll get ready to get started in roughly 2 minutes. Thank you. Good morning. My name is Trevon Williams, Senior Vice President of Marketing Communications with the NAACP. We are here because a demand was made, a demand for transparency, a demand for answers, and a demand for ultimate justice on behalf of Nolan Wells. And that demand must be honored.
Amen.
For that, we are honored to pause even for a moment to respond accordingly here at our national convention. Momentarily, you will hear from renowned civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump, who will provide updates on the findings of the independent autopsy that was conducted in the death of Nolan Wells. Immediately following that, we will take questions from credentialed media. We'll attempt to answer as many questions as we can. However, we want to be respectful of the fact that we do have additional programming that is going on to conclude our convention today as well. So we're asking that all press and media, if you're asking questions, please be concise, give your name, give your media credential, and we'll go from there. But before he comes, we will have the leader of the NAACP, President Derrick Johnson, to give opening remarks. President Johnson.
Good morning. Good morning. Far too often, our young people are confronted with challenges, and many jurisdictions and states don't take those challenges serious. We cannot allow another individual, particularly a young Black man's death, go uninvestigated. We have seen this happen over the years, not only in Mississippi, but across the country. It is unfortunate that our young people only seek to enjoy life, and as a result of participating in activities, no longer have life. For the NAACP, we take this and many other cases serious because every person matters. I want to thank the Mississippi State Conference, particularly Alitra Perryman, for working with the family and supporting the family on the onset. Because it's difficult to lose a loved one, it's even more difficult to navigate a process when all eyes are on you. And the pressure of balancing between grieving and navigating is upon you. And so for the NAACP family, this is our role, is to step in, to support when the families have an issue like this, and the local officials seem not to hold people accountable. It's unfortunate when you see news reports and law enforcement officials are repeating what individuals are saying as opposed to investigate the individuals who gave you the information, because you don't know who was involved or not involved. And so narrative matters in this case. And we're saying that in Nolan Wells' situation, the narrative should not be it was an accident before there was an investigation. The narrative should not be the words of individuals who went on a boat to the island with him, but they came without him, but with his cell phone, and you don't investigate those individuals. We're not accusing anyone of anything other than the state of Mississippi and local officials. We're accusing them of being derelict in their duties to follow up and to ensure that regardless of what happened, that there was the proper investigation so that this family and that community could be assured that if anyone was involved, they would be held accountable. And if it was truly an accident, that the families will have the necessary answers that any family deserves in this situation. I want to bring to the podium Attorney Benjamin Crump, a friend of mine who have stepped in to take the case and in support of the family to ensure that they get the answers that they deserve, and that local officials and anyone involved will be held accountable to this family, to that system, because we are all parents, siblings, to loved ones who should not be confronted with this reality. Attorney Crump.
Thank you very much, President Derek Johnson, for your leadership, for the leadership of the Mississippi Conference of NAACP, and being there during the homegoing services to help the family go through what no parents want to go through. Thank you to Chairman Leon Russell, my longtime mentor from Florida, who helped raise so many of us. Thank you for always being there, Chairman Russell. As President Johnson said, I'm Attorney Ben Crump, representing the family of Nolan Wells, but it's not just me, it is a team effort of incredible, dedicated lawyers and investigators and paralegals. Attorney Lisa Park, attorney who you'll hear from in a few minutes, Attorney Eric Hertz, Attorney Gary Buchan, Attorney Camila Moore, Cliff Jones, Jared Preston, Alan Williams, our whole team of people who are committed, as I said, President Johnson, on this ferocious search for the truth of what really happened to Nolan Wells. But before we begin to discuss the intricacies of the preliminary findings of the independent autopsy, we think it would be appropriate for you all to hear from the people who knew Nolan Wells best, so they can thank you themselves and tell you about the trials and tribulations that they have been enduring since July 4th. July 4th would never be the same for them. I bring to the podium Nolan Wells' mother and father, Christine and Elmore. Please give them a warm NAACP welcome.
First of all, I want to say thank you all so much. Thank you to President Johnson as well as Chairman Russell. This has been a difficult journey. Losing a child, it truly breaks your heart. It is a pain that is just, you can't measure it. Especially someone like Nolan, who brought so much joy and light and life to everyone. You don't find too many genuine people like him. So to lose that light at such a young age under these circumstances has been absolutely difficult, which is why we've gone this route. There's so many people out in the public asking all of these questions, but the only question that we have is what happened to our son. That is the only question. We have consistently been degraded by the public. There's been questions about our parenting, our GoFundMe, this, that, and other. I've been called a racist. I am a healthcare provider, and I take my job very seriously. I love everyone. And it's been difficult for us, but we are leaning into our faith, leaning into one another, also leaning into all of you. There are not enough thank yous, not enough appreciation for what you guys have done for us. And we do. We love you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you. And so it is our hope that our local authorities will do what they need to do, because us having the preliminary autopsy results and hearing nothing from them, it's heartbreaking and it's concerning, which again is why we are here, why we have asked for this help. So again, thank you all so much for your support. We appreciate you. We really do.
Every day I wake up, it's a new challenge. Knowing that a part of me I will never talk to, I will never hold, I will never play around with or get mad at, it's not here anymore. Nolan brought a lot of joy to our family. He was the wittiest one out of everyone. The clown. He loved to put in the work because he wanted to be the best. He wanted to make me and his mother proud, and we were so proud of him just for being the person that he was. He was loving. All his teachers knew him, but loved him. He walks in the room, his aura, you're automatically drawn to it. Never met an enemy. And if they were, they would eventually be friends because they would eventually bond, and it's gonna be hard. He should be at football practice right now. Yeah. Calling me after practice, Dad, I made this play, or I made that play, or I get a text with 3 or 4 videos of him doing this, running this route, making this block. And what you think? What you think I should do? And I will give my honest, because I always tell them, if anyone is going to be totally honest with you, it's going to be me. And it's not because I'm being mean, but people outside of your family are going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to know to make you better. It's going to be hard for our family from here on out. And like I said, every day is a challenge. We're going to miss our son. And like my wife said, we just want honesty. We want to know what happened to our son, because the things that you're telling us, that's not the character of our son. We know our son. I understand, our children will do things that, that will kind of dumbfound us sometimes, but the things that we're being told, that wasn't Nolan. So please keep us in your prayers, keep him in your prayers. And we're going to keep pushing and fighting until we find answers. Thank you guys for your love and support.
Thank you so much, Christine and Nolan. I have Christine and Elmore, Nolan's mother and father. Before we start to go over the preliminary findings from the independent autopsy, we will hear from Attorney Lisa Park to tell you about who was the forensic pathologist who conducted the autopsy. Attorney Lisa Park.
Thank you. Dr. Roger Mitchell could not join us today, but we felt it important before we reveal and unfold this report that you understand who conducted this autopsy. Dr. Roger Mitchell is a physician and board-certified forensic pathologist with 2 decades of experience. He currently serves as the president of the National Medical Association, which is the oldest and largest group of Black physicians in the U.S. Most recently, he also served as president of Howard University Hospital, chief medical officer of the Howard University Faculty Practice Plan, and chair of the Department of Pathology. Before joining Howard, he served as chief medical examiner for Washington, D.C. from 2014 to 2021, and is later as interim deputy mayor for the Public Safety and Justice. Dr. Mitchell has conducted and managed thousands of autopsies and is nationally recognized for his work at the intersection of medicine, public health, and justice. And for this case, we sought out the very best, and we are proud to be working with the very best.
Thank you, Attorney Park. I again want to express our gratitude to President Johnson, Chairman Russell, and the NAACP, because civil rights is more important than ever in the United States of America today. And so we thank you for the civil rights leaders stepping up to say that our children's lives matter now more than ever. And I want to thank all of you for getting up 8 in the morning. If people could see how many people are gathered here, they would say, you all are truly blessed to have the support of America, Christine and Elmore. And I want to thank the media for covering this matter, because they don't always cover when our children are taken away from us in highly unquestionable ways. And I do understand there's a lot of news going on in America today. I woke up to them saying LeBron James is going to announce where he's going to play basketball next year. But I'm very happy that the media said this story is just as important. And I'm sure LeBron James and Rich Paul and Stephon Curry and Draymond Green, Jaylen Brown, Embiid, Maxey, Giannis, Bam, and many other players in the National Basketball Association will all agree that our children's lives are far more important than where LeBron or any other player will play next year. And so that's why I thank you all for being here, because this news is as important as any news in the United States of America, finding out why is Nolan Wells dead. And I want to thank you all who have called the call center. I want to thank Reverend Al Sharpton. I want to thank Mr. Tyler Perry. I want to thank Mr. Terry Owens for putting up the $125,000 reward for anybody out there who have information so we can get to the truth of what happened. I mean, any videos, and we've gotten so many videos, President Johnson, from that day from young people, and we want them to have the courage to come forward with the pictures, what you heard. I know people said there were a lot of disturbances out there. Some believe it involved Nolan. All of those things are important to get to the truth of what happened. The fact, Christine, that the United Cajun Navy are so forthcoming. The fact that they told us, we haven't heard from any of their local officials, that Nolan was found face down, fully clothed. Well, that's significant to us because the last time we saw him on the videos, he was without a shirt. So at what point did he put on a shirt? Somebody saw something. Somebody knows something. There were almost 300, 400 people. Somebody knows something. So, Scott X, we're trying to just make sure people understand that you can call the Nolan Wells tip line at bencrump.com. We will gladly listen to you, take any information as we try to put together this puzzle of what happened to Nolan Wells. And today, we're gonna add some more parts to this puzzle because my legal team and I, we stand for truth, no matter who it implicates or who it exonerates. We stand for justice, no matter who it convicts or it acquits. Yeah, and we stand for transparency because we got eyes that can see, and we don't need government officials having to narrate it for you and me. We can see it for ourselves. Transparency. That leads to the truth. The truth is the foundation for accountability and justice. And that's all we're seeking, as Christina Elmore said from day one. So with that, and Christina Elmore, if you all want to sit, we're about to go through this autopsy, and I know it may be a little emotional. Thank you, President. You got the partner? Let's go through this. How does the okay, let me do that right now. As we begin to present the preliminary findings of the autopsy, we want to especially thank Mr. Colin Kaepernick for not thinking it robbery to pay for the autopsy. It's the first chart. Let's go with the first one. Put it right out. So, where's the? Real one. And the autopsy will be provided for the media at press@bencrump.com. And so, Mr. Jones, keep that. I don't need this one. I just need this one here. Put this close. So, Dr. Roger Mitchell, board certified forensic pathologist, performed a preliminary report on the death of Nolan Xavier Wells. He conducted and presented this report on July 19th, 2026. Preliminary report, second autopsy, death of Nolan Xavier Wells. Cause of death, undetermined, pending investigation. And we'll explain that as we go through the report this morning. The manner of death, undetermined pending investigation. Statement of examination. This forensic pathologist was retained to perform a second autopsy examination on the body of Nolan Xavier Wells. Name of decedent, Nolan Xavier Wells, age 18 years old, race, black, gender, male, date of death, unknown. Second autopsy date was performed on July 10th, 2026. Preliminary findings, and this is significant. Focal area of red discoloration in the soft tissue of the back of the head, the occipital region. He said the etiology is unknown at this time. He said the body was received after the initial autopsy. He said the body had marked decompensation. He said corona incision of the scalp, brain removal, Y-shaped incision of the anterior torso, and he talked about the organs being removed as is common, accompanied in the body cavity. And that when you have an autopsy, the organs are removed from the body and they're dissected and examined, and then they're put back in a bag within inside the body. So when they're buried, their remains will all be with them. But in this occasion, if there's going to be a second autopsy, then the organs are put in the body cavity so the second pathologist could be able to examine the organs as well. Very significant for Dr. Mitchell was that the anterior inner neck structures were absent, not received with the body. And we'll explain that in just a minute. And then it talks about the additional procedures performed during the second autopsy. And we'll go into the paragraphs on that there because he explains it better in his narrative. So where's the first page of the discussion? Not the diagram yet. You can keep the diagram over there. Move this back, Lisa. So he talks in the preliminary discussion opinion. This forensic pathologist identified several limitations during the second autopsy that create barriers to establishing a definitive cause and manner of death for Nolan Xavier Wells. And that's important. He talks about the fact that we didn't get to see the body when it was first recovered, like the medical examiner working for Mississippi would have seen it. He talked about the second autopsy performed on Nolan Wells revealed marked decompensation or changes. Marked decompensation can obscure the presence and absence of bruising on the skin surface, especially during a second autopsy examination. What he's saying, because the body was so decomposed that you couldn't tell if there was bruises or abrasions on the body when he received it on the 10th of July. For these reasons, additional dissection procedures not performed during the first autopsy examination were performed to rule out potential blunt force injuries responsible for the death. These procedures included facial dissection, posterior head and neck dissection, dissection of the ribs, the pelvic, dissection of the subcutaneous and deep soft tissue, dissection of the back, the buttocks, the arms, and legs. He did all of this to rule out things. He ruled out there were no fractures or deep tissue injuries identified. This was very important because he wanted to be very thorough and very transparent, because transparency is the key to getting to the answers of why Nolan Wells is not with us. So he did that there and was very straightforward, very open, very open. He says, however, dissection of the back of the head during the layered posterior neck dissection revealed a 12 by 8 inch focal area of red discoloration in the deep soft tissues overlaying the occipital bone. And he talked about how he found red discoloration when he cut open into the back of his head towards the occipital bone, and he saw the red discoloration, and we actually saw the pictures of it. It's significant. You can't help but notice, why is this dark red here in the back of his head? And so he was important to note that in his report. He said that etiology of this finding is unclear. There are no lacerations of the overlaying skin nor fractures of the underlying skull. These findings are inconclusive for perimortem injury due to both the extensive decomposition and the absence of associated injuries. This finding, however, is significant enough to be highlighted in this preliminary report for further investigation. It is important to reiterate that the finding could not have been observed in the first autopsy because the posterior head and neck dissection were not performed. He said another limitation, move this back here. Another limitation faced by this forensic pathologist was the absence of the anterior internal neck structures. The trachea and the laryngeal cartilage, the thyroid horn, and the hyoid bone were not received with the body. So he's saying that the throat was not received with the body when he got Nolan Wells' body in Washington, D.C. to perform the second autopsy. And so let's discuss that with what he said about that. He said, it is assumed that the initial pathologist retained these structures for additional evaluation. He said the retention of the anterior neck structures during an initial autopsy is a common forensic pathology practice. He was chief medical examiner for 7 years in Washington, D.C., and he said that if they had concern about throat or any fracture or compression of the throat, they too will hold him back. He doesn't know why they held the throat back, but he said the throat was not with the body of Nolan Wells when he received it in Washington, D.C. to perform the second autopsy. He said, nevertheless, a posterior neck dissection performed without review of the anterior neck structures is incomplete. Therefore, this pathologist cannot rule out injury to the neck as a contributor or a cause of death. He said he would need to have the medical examiner in Mississippi allow him to review the throat. That's why he said his autopsy is undetermined pending investigation. Remember, it's about transparency. Because the initial autopsy rightfully removed and dissected each organ, there are additional limitations inherent in the second autopsy of Nolan Wells. The most significant of the limitations was the inability to directly observe the airway and the lungs for water and directly observe the stomach for gastric contents. He said it is very significant as to what the initial forensic scientists who got to review the body when it was recovered. We have heard from our call center people saying the body wasn't waterlogged. Well, we need to know those things. But unfortunately, because the body was decomposed and the organs have already been dissected, those are things we can only get from the initial autopsy. So therefore, again, the manner and cause of death is undetermined until further investigation. We are hopeful that the Mississippi Medical Examiner would give Dr. Mitchell an opportunity to see their photographs and their observations to the condition of Nolan Wells' body closer in time to July 4th. That is very important, and we have to continue to demand transparency, President Johnson. In addition, the original toxicology results have not been received at the time of this report. And we continue to wait for the toxicology to come back because, again, that will be part of the investigation into Nolan Wells' autopsy by Dr. Mitchell. It is significant to note that it's many things that go into toxicology that only Dr. Mitchell would be able to opine upon, and medical experts can opine upon. And he feels the proper place to do that is before a grand jury in a courtroom. And so we would hope that the district attorney would present Dr. Mitchell before the grand jury as well. We want all relevant information to be heard by the grand jury. Lastly, in cases where a death has occurred in or around a body of water, this is important. Lastly, in cases where a death has occurred in or around a body of water with suspicion of drowning, it is important to confirm how that person entered the water. This is the crux of the matter. This information is especially important for those deaths of persons who can swim. As in the case with Nolan Wells, at the time of this report, this forensic pathologist does not know the condition of Nolan Wells. He did not know whether he was conscious or unconscious when he entered the water. He said that would be significant. He said he did not know whether he was forced into the water or unforced into the water. He said that would be significant. So he said the condition of Nolan Wells before he entered the water would be the crux of the matter. It would be of utmost importance to being able to determine a cause and manner of death. He said, definitive circumstances of death are required to determine the manner of death. For these reasons, this pathologist cannot rule out, and let me really call your attention to this. For these reasons, this pathologist cannot rule out if any intervening non-accidental factors contributed to or caused the death of Nolan Wells. Understand, he's saying based on the examination of the body, he cannot rule out foul play. That is significant. With the following questions still outstanding, number one, what were the circumstances that led to Nolan Xavier Wells entering the water? Number two, what was the body position when it was found? We know that a member of the United Cajun Navy said that he was face down and he was fully clothed. Number three, where's there water in the airway? Remember, he talked about the lungs and the airways where they fill with water. Number four, is there any evidence of injuries to the anterior neck structure? We got the autopsy without his neck. We got the body without his neck at the time of the second autopsy. Number five, is there any evidence of any intracranial hemorrhaging? He said that is going to be very significant. Things that he could not observe at autopsy that the initial medical examiner would have been able to observe. Number six was the composition of what was the composition of the stomach contents? He talks about that being important because when was he found? How long had he been in the water? How long had it been since his last meal? All those things become relevant factors when you're trying to do a thorough and impartial autopsy. And number seven, what are the toxicology report findings? He said the best classification again for the cause and manner of death for Nolan Xavier Wells is undetermined pending investigation. This forensic pathologist reserves the right to review and incorporate additional forensic pathology information into his opinion as it becomes available. He says, the above opinions are expressed to a reasonable degree of medical certainty. Dr. Roger A. Mitchell, July 19, 2026. And we know that, as I said, this is only another part of the puzzle. And even though it tells us significant information, we still have more questions than we have answers at this time. And we will continue to press forward and persist, Christine and Elmore, with getting the answers to these questions. Because as you, yes, we will persist, persist, persist. Because as Christine and Elmore and Attorney Parker and I talked this morning, we know that there are so many conflicting stories. The fact that she said him being found face down, the fact that we have other videos where people who have called said that is Nolan who is in some kind of dispute with others. We're looking at all of these things. The fact that the GPS tracking of the boat is being questioned by many. We're trying to dot every I and cross every T, because we understand that when our children's lives are at stake, it matters. Not just what happened, but what we do in the aftermath of them being taken away from us. And just like the NAACP stood up when another tragedy in Mississippi taking the life of young Emmett Till, we will stand up for Nolan Wells. Just like the NAACP and civil rights leaders stood up when another Mississippi son was taken in Medgar Evers. We will stand up for Nolan Wells. And just like too many of our young people, Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Botham Jean, Terrence Crutcher, Stephon Clark, Sandra Bland, Atiana Jefferson, Alton Sterling, Eric Gardner, George Floyd, Tamir Rice, the young people who I was trying to focus on. Gary, we stand up until we get the truth, until we get justice for Nolan Wells. 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 We were asked if Christine and Elmore and President Johnson can come back and join us on the stage. And Trevon, we will have you coordinate questions and answers for us or President Johnson or Attorney Park and I. I will say this: as President Johnson comes to the stage, I was sharing this with him and Chairman Russell, Christine Clark. God knows we wish we had you at the Department of Justice now. Christine Clark. As I was sharing with President Johnson and Reverend Al and others, this is so important that we continue to talk about Nolan Wells and what happened to him, and that we get attention on him, because in getting attention on him, it brings attention, Cliff Jones, to other cases that are not getting their attention as of yet. But I'm so grateful to Christine and Elmore, because they said whatever we can do, not only to help our son, but to help these other young Black boys who was killed the July 4th holiday. And I want to take a moment before we answer your questions to talk about two other young Black men, both 18 years old, who were killed in extraordinary ways that are very similar to Nolan. President Johnson, 18-year-old Daniel Irvins went on a fishing trip, out on a fishing boat with two other young men. He was the only black. It is alleged that he ended up accidentally drowning, but his two white friends got his cell phone and threw it away, got his clothes and threw it away, and then went and deleted all of their text messages with him and social media. Sounds familiar? And they've only been charged with tampering with evidence. And his mother is crying out that they should be charged with murder, because if they would lie about his cell phone and his clothes and deleted messages, then they will lie about what really happened to Daniel Irvins. And then there's the matter, President Johnson, Christine Clark, of 18-year-old Tyler Smith. Tyler Smith, on 4th of July, was at a house party with about 10 other people. He was the only black person at the house. He somehow ends up shot in the head, dead. Some of the friends get rid of the gun. The police show up. They tell the police it was an accident. It was an accidental shooting, that they were playing Russian roulette. And Tyler Smith ended up getting killed. And apparently, Christine Clark, President Johnson, the police just took their word for it. His mother and grandmother are incensed. They asked the police, did you do a gunshot residue test on his hands? And the reason they said they had to call us, like Daniel Irvins and Nolan Wells family, because the police told them, President Johnson, that there was no need to do gunshot residue on his hands or any of the other people in the house, because I don't understand this logic, but they said if they were playing Russian roulette, then all of them will have gunshot residue on their hands. So we don't need to do gunshot residue tests. It makes no sense whatsoever. So they are taking the word of these 10 people that your son just killed himself. And you don't have to worry about doing any investigation or testing forensically anything. Just take our word for it. Now, can you imagine in any three of these scenarios, had the survivors been young black men and they were with a young white man and he ended up dead, what kind of investigation would that have been? What kind of interrogation would that have been? Would they have ever been able to see the light of day until those questions were answered? Well, just like you would do a thorough investigation for your children, we want you to do a thorough investigation for our children. We don't want anything special. We just want equal justice. Equal justice. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Trevon to lead us in the final session.
We'll have a few questions. We have my colleagues on either side with microphones. Please announce your name and your media outlet if you have any questions. We're going to be quick because we have other programming going on in real time. We'll go here first.
Oh, thank you. Hi, everybody. Samantha Chapman, ABC 7 Chicago. You just unveiled a comprehensive outline of the independent report. Can you summarize for our viewers, because there's a lot to take in, a lot of information. So in summary, can you succinctly tell us what we can take away from this report? And also, if you can provide more details about the neck.
Yep.
I heard a lot of people behind me gasping when
Yep.
that detail was mentioned.
Yep. Let me try to be very comprehensive. As Dr. Roger Mitchell said, that the focal area of red discoloration in the soft tissue of the back of the head, the occipital region, is significant because he cannot determine why you have that red discoloration in the back of his brain. That's significant. He also talked about, Mr. Williams, if you could, just the fact that as it's common practice, he was missing his throat when they received the body. And he wants to know why they held it back. He's not drawing any conclusions, but he said he would want to examine it if there were neck fractures or compressions to the neck. And he thinks that's significant to know at autopsy. The reason he says he would hold it back when he was medical examiner because he thought that there may have been some issues with neck fractures. The last thing that is significant is what we said before about him, the condition of his body when he went into the water. Was he conscious or unconscious? Was he forced or unforced into the water? He said those things are very significant. But he started off talking about this red discoloration in the back of his head is something that was of great concern to him. Thank you.
We'll go here.
Daryl Denard with Chicago Speaks on V103. What specifically are you calling for from Mississippi authorities in terms of transparency, but more importantly, investigations?
I know President Johnson is from the state of Mississippi, and the Mississippi Conference president is here. They're calling, as we are, for a fair, impartial, comprehensive investigation. When Nolan's parents heard the sheriff say there's no foul play at the beginning of the investigation, that is cause for concern, major concern. You haven't even investigated, but you're saying no foul play. And so we want them to dot every I and cross every T. You know, we had a meeting with the district attorney, and we expressed to them about our lived experiences. The fact, and you know, they said that's not what happens in her office, but we said, we believe if the roles were reversed and there were 3 young black 18-year-olds and there was a white 18-year-old who was with them and he ended up dead, we don't believe that those young black men would not have been interrogated to the full extent of the law. We believe that it would not have been a choice whether they were going to cooperate with law enforcement if their lawyers and them were going to cooperate. No, they would have been held until they gave answers. They would have been held until they explained the cell phone in their possession. They would have been held until their cell phones have been examined. And so whatever you would do, had the roles been reversed, we want you to do the same thing for Nolan Wells.
We have time for one more question, and then we're going to have a prayer with our Religious Affairs Committee with the family. One more question here. What's this there?
I'm Tiffany Walden with the Tribe in Chicago. I know that we're talking about a transparent investigation, but for families and people who are watching, can you kind of give a breakdown or a timeline to the best of your ability of the contact that you've had with Mississippi authorities or Ocean Springs authorities or the Cajun Navy? Have you all talked to them? Do they call you after the initial autopsy? Is it just radio silence from them? Do you have to call them? Can you kind of walk us through that process?
So the last time we actually spoke with local authorities, which would be the sheriff's department, was I think a day or two after his body was found. That was only initiated by me. I sent him a text message. I was like, hey, this is Christine, Nolan's mom. I just want to see if there are any updates. Basically, he called back. There were no updates. He's like, we're still interviewing. And again, my concern, and also my husband's concern, was it was not even an hour that his body had been removed. And the sheriff came out and said, this is, accidental drowning. We don't think there's foul play. Again, that is why we're doing what we're doing and why we're moving the way we are. Because I sat there and asked them, please take this case as if this is your child,
Yes.
your family member, your whatever. And they promised that they would, but when you make statements like that straight out the gate, that's an issue. We did meet with the DA. She did promise, transparency and all of this, all of that. However, damage has already been done, because now that's the narrative that's being pushed by the general public, who again, know nothing really, only what they're hearing from other people. So in addition to that, it's all these things coming up. And at the end of the day, like I said before, any parent that would be in this situation, you would do anything to find out what happened to your child. And that is what we're here to do.
It is very important to note that this narrative, this suggestion that it was an accidental drowning, nothing to see here, is troubling, even if that's the case. There were 300 to 400 people out on Horns Island. You mean to tell me nobody saw anything? Nobody can tell us anything about what happened to one of the few black people that were out there on that island that day? It just doesn't add up. The fact that they're saying Nolan said that he would stay behind, but yet an 18-year-old kid would not want his cell phone if he was going to stay behind. The fact that, you have the young lady saying that he said he was going to get back on the boat with the boys, and then the boys saying no, he said he was going to stay behind and talk to her. If that was the case, don't you believe Nolan would have said, give me my cell phone, I'm gonna stay behind. Give me my car keys, I'm gonna stay behind. It's not adding up. And so we're gonna keep fighting and digging until we get the answers, the transparency, the truth, the accountability, and justice for Nolan Wells. 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 Justice for Nolan Wells.
Justice for Nolan Wells.
Justice for Nolan Wells.
Justice for Nolan Wells. We're going to have our Religious Affairs Committee join us quickly so we can have a quick word of prayer with the family, and that will conclude our press conference formally.
Good morning. It's a good morning in spite of all that we have heard. It's a good morning because we're here for justice. I'm Reverend Wendell Anthony from the Detroit branch and also a member of the National Board of Directors and a part of the Religious Affairs Committee, joined by colleagues who are here. I'm going to ask all of you, if you would be so kind as to just link arms. Just link arms so that we can link ourselves around this particular moment and around this family. There's an old African proverb that says, those whom we love die only in the physical sense, but their spirit continues to live on in the will and determination of those whom they leave behind. Mr. and Mrs. Wells, I did not know your son, but I could tell from just looking at his photograph, I can feel the aura, the joy that you talked about. We all can experience and feel that. Ben Crump has chronicled the list of pain moments in our community by the deceased and by those who are now martyrs. We have been dying since 1619, still seeking justice. Pray with me. O Lord, our Lord, how very excellent is thy name in all the earth. We are here for but one reason, to answer the question, what does the Lord require of us? But to do justice, to love mercy, to even walk humbly with our God. Lord God, your people are here beseeching justice. We're here for transparency. We're here for truth. You who are the way, the truth, and the life. We're here because of you. Lord God, how long must we continue to pay evil a toll at the gateway towards justice? How long must we see our children lie bleeding in the streets, in the sand, in the water, in the asphalt pavements of this nation that we built? Even on July the 4th, a day that serves a lesson in mockery and dichotomy, where we talk about independence, yet we are not independent from those who seek justice. Help us, Lord. Bless us right now. Bless this family. Cover this mother whose tears fall down her cheeks. Cover this father as he remembers his son, whom he taught and whom he mentored to play in life, but more importantly, to play the game the way it should be played in living. Lord God, we thank you so much. We've gone down the roads. They lied on Martin. They lied on Medgar. They lied on Malcolm. But more importantly, oh God, they lied on you. You who know about lies. We know that the truth shall eventually set us all free. Help us to get the truth, even in Mississippi. Oh Lord, help us to get the truth for our children. You know, like we know, there are more black boys in school than are in jail. We know, oh God, that there are more of us who are striving for the benefit of life rather than the poison from living. Oh Lord, how long will justice continue to lift up her brow so that she can see who is standing before us, so she can make a decision that is not in our interest, but in the interest of those who seem to be different from us? Help us, Lord. Don't we as a people bleed like everybody else? Don't we as a people need comfort like everybody else? Don't we as a people need justice like everybody else? Don't we as a people feel the pain when our children are taken from us like everybody else? Help America, Lord, because America has a problem. We don't have a problem. America has a problem. Fix the problem. In 250 years, we still seem to suffer from the same old problem. Fix America, oh God. Fix justice, oh God. Fix us, oh God. Fix Mississippi, oh God. Fix those who are standing at the gateway to break open the doors for justice. Not just us, but justice. Help us now, Lord. This is our prayer. This is our plea as we seek that which you have the power to give, and that is justice. The just shall live by their faith. The just shall live by their faith. And oh Lord, we know that when we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. Let's win in the name of justice. Let the people who love God, who are called according to his name for every good purpose, who believe in justice, say amen, amen, amen. Now give justice a hand praise. We praise God for justice. God bless you. President Johnson, I want you to know, and those who are here, there are 12,000 people who are looking at this press conference on YouTube. That was 30 minutes ago. There were 14,000 people who are looking at it on the Roots. That was 30 minutes ago. Ben Crump, this ain't no secret. The nation is looking for justice.
For media who would like a digital copy of the report, you can look at bencrump.com, and we should have a digital copy there. You can also contact Sachs Media, which is on the press release.
Okay, guys, that's it, man. That's it. 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 Okay. Man, I'm glad you guys are here, man. It's really time to get down to it, y'all. So now we've seen the press conference. So let me tell you guys what was so prolific about this press conference. Okay. Well, let me start off by saying this. Number one, if y'all don't know me, man, I'm Coach One Stack, man. I am prior law enforcement here in Las Vegas, Nevada. That's what gives me the pedigree and gives me the information and the right and the expertise to even talk to you about this subject. You understand what I'm saying? So first of all, this case was handled improperly from the get-go. Whenever you find a deceased person, and this is state to state, law is only based off of what a reasonable person would think to do. That's all law is. Meaning, if you go into a store and you take something out of the store and you don't pay for it, a reasonable person would feel that you're committing a crime, you're doing something wrong because you pay for your stuff before you go. That's all law is. So now back to this. When you find a deceased body, and when you until it is proven that that deceased person, right? Until you find out how that deceased person passed away, that is to be treated as a homicide. The scene is to be treated as a homicide until it is disproved. Now, why is that? Let me start. Why is that? Because you have to find the crime scene. And in this case, you have many so-called crime scenes. I'm not going to get on here and speculate with you guys. I'm going to give you guys some facts of the case and tell you some law. Number one, that beach where Nolan Wells was found, that is a crime scene. Nolan Wells' body is a crime scene. Wherever his phone was at is a crime scene. Whichever boats he was on is a crime scene, right? This is what we call a dynamic crime scene. It's dynamic. You have many of them. And being that when you have many crime scenes, you're supposed to lock them down. This is why, guys, this is why they put yellow tape. This is why they put yellow tape, guys. This is why they put yellow tape around a crime scene. Because whenever you walk into a crime scene, you bring something into a crime scene, right? You add stuff to it. And when you walk out of a crime scene, you take things out of the crime scene. That's what yellow tape is for. So from jump, his body should have been isolated and treated as a crime scene, which they didn't do that. They never should have came on they never should have came on TV saying, well, he appears to have looked like this. He appears to have looked like that. Because here's how it really goes. Let me give you guys a scenario. Because I found many people who were passed away in my time in law enforcement. I've seen it all. I've seen death in every way except somebody being burned to death. Okay? That's the only thing I haven't seen. Drown, I've seen it all. So in this case, they should never have got on there and said, oh, he looks like he may have drowned. Guys, a person don't look a certain type of way when they drown. Okay? Now, bodies start to bloat. It's hot outside. It's hot, especially in Mississippi. It's humid. If you're outside in the elements for a day or two, your body's going to start to bloat, right? You actually swell up, and at one point your body pops. It don't like pop like a balloon, but your limbs swell up from the gases inside of you, and you start to leak out bodily fluids. They call it, you swell up and you pop. Like you'll swell up, you'll pop, and you'll go back down, right? Because rigor mortis sets in after a couple hours. They never treated this as a crime scene from the get-go. Everybody from day one was saying that, oh, he was on a boat. You can't be the only black person. You can't be the only black person that goes out with 4 white kids because somebody's going to do something to you. Man, let me get off that. Let me get on that for a minute. First of all, man, he was one of them kids. He was raised with white people. You can't see through all these pictures that he have. All these pictures he have. He's been around these white people his entire life. And I'm sorry, God, I'm not a racist. Hey, man, it's racist black people, white people, Chinese people. It's racist people from all different walks of life. You'd be surprised. Some black people are more racist against our own people than the next generation, than other people. So that was the first thing. Everybody saying, oh, he went out on the boat and they did something to him. And then they came back with his phone. Remember, they were saying at first, that they came back on the boat and his phone was on the boat. See, guys, that's why I ain't posted no video, because I'm not going to about certain shit, because I'm not going to sit up here and lie to y'all. I'm not going to try to spin the narrative to try to make something seem like what it's not. I only come to y'all with facts. So moving forward, they submit a picture, right? They submit a picture to they submit a picture of Nolan Wells in a pool. And that picture was taken on the 5th at like 1:30 in the morning. Well, that picture was taken at the judge's house. Okay. Now press and pause. We got the judge over here. Well, when he came up missing and everybody was looking for Nolan Wells, you know, on the 4th, like we ain't seen him since the 4th. We don't know where he's at. This judge from this small town, this judge who knew Nolan Wells, who went to school with Nolan Wells' mother, which is one of her friends. She should have been the first one to say, come forward and say, oh, no, he wasn't missing. He was at my house at a pool party. He was at my house at a pool party. So you're going to ask, well, why wouldn't the judge do that? Why wouldn't the judge do that? Because, guys, there's audio. I only tell y'all about facts. There's audio from one of Nolan Wells' friends. From one of Nolan Wells' friends. And he said he named off 3 names. He was like such and such, such and such, such and such. They jumped him. They said he was hit in the head with a metal pole. And the friend says he called the judge. He right, confusion and doubts, Michelle. That's right. So I'm giving y'all the real. This is why this is my very first live about it. I wasn't gonna do a live about it until I got these autopsy results, so I can really give you guys some truth. See, I ain't on here, man, trying to get clicks and tell lies about people. That ain't cool, to mislead people. So now back to it. That friend, that same friend in the audio, he says Nolan Wells was jumped. He said, and then somebody hit him over the head with a metal pole. And he said when he was hit over the head with a metal pole, it was so much commotion going on outside, he called the judge's name. I can't remember what her name is. I don't want to lie. He said she came outside drunk, came out drunk and angry, and told everybody to get the fuck out of her house. And if they didn't get the fuck out of her house, she was going to call the police. And at that point, that Nolan Wells' friend said that everybody left the judge's house, but she had Nolan Wells stay. Now I'm telling you guys, this is stuff you can find. I'm going off facts. Now, this same friend said that when they left, Nolan Wells was in the pool. Now, I don't want to lie. I don't know if he said that he was leaning over into the jacuzzi or leaned over the side of the pool, but he said that Nolan had blood coming from his mouth, right? So I want to press pause on that for a second and tell you guys something. So now you got the judge sends everybody away because she knows she's in trouble. And I'm going to tell you why. You send everybody away and you're tending to Nolan. You're tending to him. Now, you're tending to him. Well, now, as the judge, Nolan Wells could have possibly, because per that autopsy, it showed that he had been hit in the head. He has trauma to his head. He has trauma to his head, soft spots, bruising under there where he had been hit. That's consistent with being hit in the head with a pole. Now, we don't know if Nolan Wells, could have, guys, this happens all the time. He could have been hit in the head. He could have passed, went to sleep because he was drinking. He was drinking and possibly doing narcotics. And I'm going to say possibly because the 4 boys that he went out on the boat with, and I'm not going to say white boys and black boys. I'm not even going to say that. The 4 boys he was on the boat with, their own friends came out on tape and said that these boys were known for having a substance that they used and that they always kept with them. Well, if they know that, if everybody else know that, Nolan knew it too. And if Nolan, to me, Nolan, if you knew that your friends use booger sugar and they drink it, if you're not a part of it, why would you even be on a boat with them to begin with? So I'm talking about that. So now back to this party. So Nolan Wells could have possibly been we know he's under the influence of alcohol. He possibly was under the influence of a narcotic and was hit in the head. So now we got a head injury. This is what we know from the coroner's exam. He could have possibly laid down and went to sleep and didn't wake up. People panicked. And why would they panic? Especially a judge, because as a judge, hold up, let me see this. Rolling Stone being in the pool bar shows it was taking that past Christian, Mississippi, and doing this. Great song. Great song. I was told that was July 5th. The picture in the pool. I got from my sources that picture was taken on July 5th in the morning. And here's why. You wouldn't have had that 34-year-old white guy sitting in the pool with a 4th of July tattoo on his chest, in his chest hair, on June 27th. You wouldn't have that. And you actually there is an actual audio of one of Nolan Wells' friends, one of his friends, telling the story. Now, you got to remember, guys, these are 18, 19-year-old kids. They not that sharp to just concoct this big old story and plan of what happened. Now, is it something foul going on? Hell yeah, but let me finish. So now the judge, you can't call the ambulance for Nolan Wells, and she definitely probably was scared for Nolan Wells to leave her house in that condition, because she's a judge. And if the ambulance come and the police come, not only are they going to find out that a judge was allowing a party at her house with underage drinking, drug use, where a fight broke out and someone lost their life. Because hold on to that, because I'm going to break this story down to you that happened in Las Vegas that is really damn near the exact same thing, the exact same set of circumstances. So press pause, hold on to that. So out here in Las Vegas, maybe 10, 12 years ago, you had a district attorney, and a very prominent doctor, white couple. District attorney, very prominent doctor. I actually met the doctor. He does hip replacements. He's one of the top doctors for hip replacements in Las Vegas. Cool dude. He did a hip replacement for my uncle. He did 2 hip replacements for one of my older cousins, and he did a hip replacement for that cousin's daughter. He done a hip replacement for three people in my family. Well, when he went to this hip replacement, my dad reminded me that this was the doctor and his wife was the DA, that this took place, what I'm about to tell you. This district attorney and this doctor threw a party at their house for their kids. They had a party. There was a lot of underage drinking going on at that party. And when one of those kids left that party, they were DUI. They hit someone and killed someone. Vehicular manslaughter. Right? But because they got the alcohol from that party, which they wasn't supposed to have, what they were supposed to do, that district attorney and that doctor was supposed to go to prison. But let me tell you what they did out here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Guys, they covered that up. Them people walked free. They never served a day in jail. And Las Vegas was in an outrage because of that. Sound familiar? So now we're going to go back to Nolan Wells. This judge, if you call for help for Nolan Wells after he'd been hit in the head with a pole, you have to explain now to the police, Nolan's parents, why you were allowing underage drinking at your house, drug use, and this man lost his life, right? You'd have to explain that. And as the judge, that's not going to sit too kindly. So now when we get to them little towns down in Mississippi, guys, I need y'all to understand, man, when you dealing with them little small, if y'all ain't never been to the South, my family's from the South, they're from Louisiana. My cousin is actually the mayor of the town where my family's from, right? And when you get the mayor and judges in little towns like that, they're so tight knit, the judge runs shit, okay? The judge runs shit. I can definitely see him expiring at that house, and everybody's in a panic. People are in a panic now. They're in a panic. Like, oh my God, No passed away. He passed away. What do? We can't call the police because the judge is going to be in trouble. Okay, Grayson, I hear you. Now, I don't know that for sure. I don't know. But I'm gonna look into that. But good looking, no. Because I'm taking this, what I'm telling you, I'm taking this from actually one of his friends who left audio talking about this. Right. Okay. So now I've seen this happen many times in law enforcement, people. You have kids doing narcotics, even adults. You got 5 people in the house doing narcotics. One of them overdoses and passes away because people are scared in that house of what they've been doing. They don't want to call the police. They don't want to call the ambulance because they're scared they're going to go to jail. So I've seen many times where they're going to take a body and go put it somewhere, right? In this case, I believe that they panicked because of what happened. And when it was time, they placed Nolan Wells' body at that beach. Because if Nolan Wells had been out there for 2 days from that water, it's not even because of the water, right? It's because of the air being hot. When you pass away, the gases in your body causes you to bloat. They cause you to bloat, right? So I could see them placing his body out there. On another note, the parents, Nolan Wells' parents, this is the key, and this is the key to a lot of this case. And I need y'all to understand and realize you heard it on my channel first. His phone. His parents got that Life 365 on there where they can track his phone. Well, where you found his phone at the judge's house, you found his phone, well, that's where he was at. It's not hard to retrace the steps of that phone to see where Nolan Wells was at. But here's the problem. Here's the problem with the phone. We got something in law enforcement called a chain of custody. It was a very bad look for his parents to get that phone and not give it to the police. And I'm going to tell you why. A lot of y'all going to say, well, they don't trust the police. Well, they don't trust the police down there. That don't matter. Nolan Wells' parents should have gave them the phone immediately, right? They can always go back and if they wanted to see what was the contents of that phone or what was on that number, his parents could have that stuff pulled. They can go get another iPhone and connect it to the iCloud and basically clone that phone. But they didn't do that. So now what they're going to do with that phone is they're going to meet each side and they're going to go through the phone together. Well, the problem with that is, let's just say there is something that could be incriminating, so on and so forth. And let's just say somebody was to get arrested. due to something that they found in this phone. Let me tell you why they're going to skate. Here's why they're going to skate. That phone may not even be entered into evidence because of the chain of custody, right? They've had that phone now for over 2 weeks. For over 2 weeks. So when they get to court, see, it ain't about what you know, it's about what you can prove. So when they get to court and they ask the experts about this phone, all they're going to do is ask them, they're going to say, so we noticed that the police didn't get this phone until 3 weeks afterwards, after the parents took custody of this phone. And they're going to say, is it possible? Is it possible that anything could have been altered in this phone with the technology that we have here today? And that answer is going to be yes. Yes, it is a possibility. Well, that's all the doubt that a jury of 12 needs to say, it's possible that the phone could have been altered. See, this is how the game is played. See, because when you get on the stand, they ask you that question, they're not going to let you get your entire statement out. They're not going to let you say, yeah, the phone could be altered, but statistics say that it is a 1 in a billion chance that could have happened to this phone because of X, Y, and Z. They're not going to let them say that on the stand. They're going to cut them off at the point where they say, yes, that it is possible that this phone could have been altered. Boom, quiet. This is why Nolan Wells' parents should have gave them that phone. All right? Now, man, leading to this autopsy, when a coroner finds reasonable doubt, Michelle, exactly. All you need is reasonable doubt. I'm just giving it to you. I'm just giving it to you raw because I don't go one way or the other with this case. I want his parents to find out what happened to him, and I want him to rest in peace because he's already rested in peace. I want his parents to really know what happened to him, and if it's something that happened to him, I want these people to be held responsible. And if it didn't happen like that, I would like a whole lot of people to get up on here and apologize to this man's family for making all these different narratives and shit. Exactly, Michelle. They're also not going to let it be submitted into court. Well, this is what I've been trying to tell people. They're not going to let that in court. You know, sidebar, like I said, I'm prior law enforcement out here in Las Vegas. I can tell you for a fact that O.J. Simpson did do it. Why? Because I went to a homicide seminar and I got to see the evidence, Michelle, like you're talking about. I got to see all the evidence that was not admitted into court because of loopholes. And I'm here to tell you, OJ did it. Because there's no way that OJ's blood mixed with their blood. How would OJ's blood get mixed with their blood at the scene of the crime? How would OJ's blood mixed with their blood be in his Bronco? How would OJ's footsteps in those shoes be at that crime scene? But see, these things were not admitted into court because of the Mark Furman. And a lot of y'all too young to remember this and know who Mark Furman was, but that's the reasonable doubt. And they got that stuff thrown out. And I'm here to tell you, OJ did it. Now back to this in his phone. Back to this in his phone. When the coroner comes out and they find a body, okay? When the coroner finds a dead body, they can submit everything to grand jury. Yeah, facts, Gray. Facts. I'm glad you guys are on point with this. And God, make sure you hit the like button, man. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Because I've been waiting to lead this. I don't like putting bad information out there. I don't like how these narratives get spun. But so now when the coroner comes out for any dead body, the first thing they're going to do, they're going to pull your eyes like this. Look. They're going to look down in your eyes like this. They're looking for what's called critical hemorrhaging. Critical hemorrhaging. That's when you have the blood vessels popped in the bottom of your eyelids. That shows signs of strangulation. That's one of the first things they do. They're obviously going to lift your shirt up, front and back to see if they're going to look to see if you have any holes in you, to see if you stabbed. They're not going to pull your pants off or none of that stuff, not at the scene. But this stuff is done at the scene. They're going to roll you over and look to see if you got any holes in you. They're going to see if they see any blood. But one more important thing that they're going to do, that they always do, they're going to touch his scalp. They're going to touch his scalp. They're going to push his scalp. And what are they looking for? They're looking for soft spots in his skull, right? They're looking for bruising. They're looking for red marks. They're looking for blood. They're going to push around his scalp. Now, listen to what I just said, how they're going to push around his scalp. The coroner, this is at the scene now before they even take the body away. This is a preliminary thing. Well, they just said during this that he had injuries to his skull. He had bruising under there, which means the coroner should have been able to tell them that at the scene. And when they did an autopsy, just like they were able to find this during the autopsy, the second autopsy, because they haven't given us the results for the first one. That means that they know this from the first autopsy. And with that being said, that he had a blow to his head, this should have been getting treated as a murder from the get-go. But this case is all messed up because it has been handled improperly. This case has been handled improperly. See, Nolan Wells' body is a crime scene. Nolan Wells' body shouldn't even have been allowed to even go to the next to a private autopsy, because his body is a crime scene. All right. So now going with this second autopsy, because I ain't gonna keep y'all, I like to get straight to the point. When they said they didn't see when you have an autopsy, and I'm glad they talked about it. If you guys don't really know anything about an autopsy, and I'm gonna tell you guys, being ex-law enforcement, another sidebar, Tupac is dead. Trust me. I saw his autopsy. I seen his autopsy photos. He's out of here, right? The last words that Tupac said before he went unconscious, not before he died, before he went unconscious at the scene where he got shot, was "fuck you." That was the last thing he said. I know the sergeant, the bike patrol sergeant that found him and was holding him, and he was trying to ask Tupac, who did this to you? Who did this to you? Tupac was spitting up blood, and he told him, "fuck you," and then he blanked out. Okay. So when you get an autopsy, they do what's called a Y incision. They go right here at the top of your shoulders. At the top of your shoulders, they cut down right to the middle, boom, and then they cut you down the center. They open you up. They crack your ribs. They open you up, and they go through and they take a sample of every one of your organs. They take a sample of it. Okay. They take a sample of it. They do your toxicology. Matter of fact, you don't even have to wait for a toxicology report to know if someone passed away from narcotics. They can tell you that at an autopsy. The toxicology report will tell you how much of whatever a person had in their system. Like they can tell you, oh no, we know this person been using drugs for 8 months because we see this much buildup of whatever narcotics in his system. It's just a more detailed version, but they could tell right now if he had drugs in his system or not. So now when they do the autopsy, I know this sounds gross and it's crazy, but they take all your organs and they put them in a plastic bag and they put them inside of you and they sew you back up. Okay. This is what they did in the Nolan Wells case. But you heard Benjamin Crump said that when the body got to DC, the coroner in Mississippi didn't send his throat. They said that he had, the problem is that, we change colors when we pass away. Caucasians, and I'm not racist, nothing racial on this channel. Caucasians, they normally bury Caucasians within a day or two. because we changed colors. We changed colors. And as black people, we changed colors as well. We changed colors as well. I had a close personal friend of mine when I was 18 who was a very, very light-skinned black person. Very, very light-skinned, playing Russian roulette when we was 18, and he unalived himself. A week later, when they buried him, he was blacker than the ace of spades. We changed colors. So this is why when they told you, they said, you know, it's inconclusive because we can't, you know, the body is starting to change colors at this point and be decomposed. So you're unable to see if this man was bruised up, if his body was bruised up. And since they didn't send his neck, they're unable to see if maybe he was choked, maybe somebody had their hands around his neck. But as I told you, if somebody had something around your neck and you were choked to death, they pull your eyes down, and it's every time, look it up, it's called petechial hemorrhaging. They pull your eyelids down and the blood vessels would have been popped in his eyes. So whether they had his neck or not, right? Whether they had his neck or not, you can still tell if he was strangled. But it does raise a point, because why wouldn't you send all his body parts? What is it that they don't want him to see? They don't want them to see. You understand what I'm saying? So see, due to the validity of this case, national coverage, why are y'all not sending all the body parts? This is a question you need to ask. Like, where are the body parts? Because at the end of the day, guys, I don't know if you really, really understood what they were saying during this, but his death is they cannot even determine a cause of death. They can't determine the cause of death. And this is going to fall on the state of Mississippi. And there's definitely a cover-up. And I'm going to tell you why it's a cover-up. Guys, you don't go get an attorney unless you got something to get an attorney for. The judge has lawyered up. All the kids involved have lawyered up. You don't lawyer up unless you have a reason to. Guys, you're not a fool. I ain't gonna talk to y'all like you crazy. Ain't nobody in this chat will go retain themselves an attorney for no reason. Nobody in this chat would go and retain an attorney for no reason. You only retain an attorney when you have a reason to. And that's what they did, including the judge. Now, so see, some of you guys will, and I'm gonna give you guys some time for questions too. But some of you guys might ask, how come nobody's been arrested? Everybody, oh, well, how come no arrest has been made? How come no arrest has been made? Because, man, when you're dealing with murder and homicide, you're never in a rush to arrest anybody for murder, because it's this thing called double jeopardy. Do you realize how many people were out there that have to be interviewed? You got hundreds of people that have to be interviewed before you come up with even a suspect to arrest. And I'm here to tell you, the judge is on that list. But when you're dealing with a judge, you have to understand, a judge is somebody who, you know, this is what they do. A judge is an appointed position, a very prestige position. And before law enforcement or a district attorney will even come out into the open and say that a judge could possibly be a suspect in a murder, they have to have all of their ducks in a row. And here's why. Here's why. See, if it was you or I, they come out and say it against us. But with a judge, they have to have their ducks in a row. Because when you go off accusing somebody publicly of something, even if they beat it, even if they beat it and it's not them, they're going to always have that stigmatism attached to their reputation that they was accused of this. So What we at, Gray? I think someone on the island did it. Not one of the friends, one of those hundreds of people on the island that's violent drunk or on meth or jealous of the girl. And you know what, Gray? I believe, you know, my theory that proves something if they left out. Yeah, they left his neck out to hide some. Like, you're gonna give them everything. You're gonna give them everything. And what I'm saying is, don't think in this case, this is the proper procedure for autopsies in general. You need all of the body parts to do a proper autopsy. See, I bet y'all didn't even know. I bet y'all didn't even know that when they do an autopsy on your body, guys, they keep a portion of your body. They keep it. It's a very small portion, but they still got Tupac's body parts. It ain't like they keep a big chunk. They keep a small little piece so they can get DNA if they ever need it or whatever. They keep pieces of those organs from every autopsy. Friends did it. Hold up. Get my glasses, guys. If the friends did it, they would have thrown the phone to the ocean where it never be found. So they brought it back, eventually handed over. Yeah. Well, but remember, Gray, they didn't bring the phone back. That's not what happened. That's not how his parents got the phone. They had this Life 360 on the phone, basically a find your iPhone. And that's how the parents located the phone. The father went to go get the phone at this judge's house. Okay. The dad went and got the phone. And when he got to the phone, even though there was a lot of people in that house, remember, Nolan's body was not found until after they retrieved that phone. Okay. His body was not found until after they retrieved that phone. When Nolan's dad got to the house to retrieve that phone, when he tracked it down, there were people in that house and they were sitting in the dark. My theory is, this is just my theory, because listening to Nolan's friend say how he watched him get jumped by 3 people, watched him get jumped, and he was hitting the head with a pole. He was bleeding out of his mouth. And the judge came out and told everybody to leave. Well, this could be definitely consistent with, hey, Nolan Wells' body probably was still in that house. His body was more than likely still in that house where his phone was at. Nobody, guys, I got 2 phones. I don't go anywhere without my phones. I'm not going to my pool without my phone. I'm not going anywhere without my phone. Nolan Wells was in that house where his phone was at. I can pretty much tell you he was in the house where his phone was found. That's why it was completely dark. And the dad said when he got there, it took them like 10, 15 minutes to answer the door, even though it was a lot of people there. Because remember, you got cars at the house and everything. They're partying. But Nolan passed away. What do we do? Then he said they would slightly open the door when he got his phone. Exactly, they didn't throw it in the ocean. And I mean, and like I said, it should have been thrown in the ocean, but it was found at a house. The phone was found at the house. So Nolan's dad said it took them like 15 minutes to even come back to the door. And when they brought his phone, they said, oh, it was sitting on top of the Xbox. That's what they said. So all you have to do, the parents had to do, is follow where the phone. Drowning is just like being in fire. You are alive. Exactly, Michelle. They didn't show any water in his lungs. But then again, listen. Watch this, Michelle. This is for you. Remember, because Mississippi did the first autopsy, that means they already took the lungs apart, and only they know if there was water in them lungs. So by the time Crump, those are the keys on the Xbox. So Crump, by the time Crump got the body and they got it in Washington, D.C., you wouldn't have known if there was water in the lungs. Matter of fact, during that autopsy, during that video just now, that autopsy report, they didn't even speak on the lungs. Hey, Michelle, they didn't even speak on his lungs. They didn't even speak on whether he had water in his lungs or not. They didn't even speak on that. Because at that point, the first autopsy, see what, this is another reason why you know it's a cover-up. Guys, like I said, this is something that I did for a living. I found plenty of deceased people, and they should have been, Mississippi should have been dropped his autopsy report. They should have been brought that to light to prove or disprove. But I'm going to tell you guys, this is a big ass scandal, and it's a cover up. And I'm not going to say that it started off as a cover up. So let me give you a scenario. Let me give you a scenario. Let me kind of tell you how this stuff go. I want you to look at the Alec Murdaugh trial, the Murdaugh murders. When you go back and you look at that family was so prominent and tight-knit in that community that even when Alec Murdaugh called 911 to report his family so-called deceased and he found them, listen to the 911 operator. She's like, oh. This is Alec Murdaugh? Whole different demeanor. Wait a minute. Let me get my supervisor. And now the shit begins. Well, same thing with this judge. The judge is the one, to me, who set all this shit in motion. Now the police the police find out, oh shit, the judge, oh, this is at the judge's house. Now the cover-up starts. Oh shit, man, we can't get the judge in trouble. We can't get the judge in trouble. Oh shit. The judge, because the judge can't go, the judge, think about it, you're the judge. You're the judge. You put people in prison for a living. How are you going to explain to the police and Nolan's parents that you were allowed underage drinking at your house, right? Because believe it or not, when you allow underage drinking at your house, and a crime occurs because of that, you're held responsible for that. That's called contributing to the delinquency of a minor. And now it's no different. And I'm sorry, guys, I'm about to get into the colored page right here off the rip. It's no different than these young black kids that get in the car and you got a little black dude in the backseat sleep, and his two friends decide to go rob 7-Eleven and they delete someone, and that dude in that car, he gets a murder charge too because he was with them, even though he ain't know nothing about it and he wasn't there. Same thing with this judge. The judge should get whatever charge, because if the judge had not been allowing underage drinking and drug use at their house, trying to be the cool parent, Nolan Wells will still be alive. They get charged with that. Okay, these are facts. I'm giving you facts off the top. The judge is also the one, because guys, now, well, what you said, Ann Smile, I didn't hear about that embalming. Now, here's the thing. You're gonna have to show me that. I'm not calling you a liar. I ain't calling you a liar, Ann. But I gotta see that, because here's the thing. If a body is embalmed already, you can't go do an autopsy of a body that's already embalmed. You can't. You can't. You can't. So I would have to say, I'm not calling you a liar, but send that to me if you got that, please. Shoot me. There's my email right there. There's my business number. Text me that or whatever, so I could do a video about it, because I haven't seen that. But I know for a fact you cannot go, if you've already embalmed a body, you can't go back and do an autopsy on it. Now, they can take an embalmed body and take your skin and do DNA tests. They can see if you were poisoned. They can see if you had drugs in your system after you've been embalmed. But once you've been embalmed, they can't, guys, embalming, man, embalming, like, you know, they once they shoot that stuff up inside of you, remember, they even embalm you with your organs sitting inside of you in a like literally, it's a plastic bag. It's about this big. They put your organs in they take all your organs out. They take a sample of each one of your organs, right? They even take a piece of your brain and they put it in a bag, like the same damn bag they use at the hot and juicy crawfish places. They put it in a bag, tie that bag, they stick it inside of you, sew you back up, and they embalm you with your organs inside of you. So it would be kind of impossible to do a autopsy on a body that was already embalmed, if that makes sense. But I don't know. But this thing has been getting handled wrong from the jump, because it should have been getting treated as a murder. So now back to the judge. You got to remember, we're dealing with 18, 19, because he trusted them and he hated for being, and they could have hated, you know, what in Django, I see what you're saying. Now, what I seen to believe is that you got a bunch of young men, and I know this is what I was doing when I was 18, 19, drinking, kicking it. Y'all get into a fight. It goes bad. He gets the short end of the stick. Now it's like, like, so, he gone. I seen it happen. I've been right there, man, plenty of time with people drinking, young people, they get into it, squabble up, boom, person hits their head on the ground. He don't wake up. He's shaking. Everybody dips, they run, and don't nobody know nothing about nothing because they're scared. I don't know. But like I said, you're dealing with 18, 19-year-olds. They would not have known to start wiping their damn social media, attempting to wipe their social media. The judge is the one that put that stuff in play. The judge is the one that told them that. The judge is the one that got them lawyered up. Sit tight, man. Let me see if I can pull up something for you guys. Hold up for a minute. Hold up. Hold up, guys. I want to share something with you. Hold up. Check it out. I don't know if you guys seen this, but check this out. We're going to go over here. Whoop, whoop. We'll go over here. Bam. All right, guys. Here we got this Instagram, man. Check this out. I'm going to make it bigger for you guys. Hold up. I'm going to make it bigger for you. And guys, this right here, this is a guy, like, he made a bunch of clips of people's stuff before it got deleted. So you can go right here to this name right here, figure it out, okay? And you can dip through a lot of these pictures and proof of what was going on, and you can see some text messages. Let me go through this for you guys real quick. Bam. All right. So this is your boy Evan, right? Now look at what they posted, people. Look at what they posted. I want you guys to see what they posted over here. Look at this. For those who do not want to read my long post, I'm sharing this screenshot I took from the now deleted pages of some of Nolan's associates. I have included their exact same song of them. So remember, this guy, he included the exact song that some of them posted with their stories the day after Nolan went missing and people were searching for him. He's also sharing the screenshots he took for some of their previous posts before they deleted their pages. So this right here, this picture right here was posted the day after they're looking for him. These are his so-called friends. How about let the good times roll, listening to Summer Breeze. Okay. Hold up. So they took some of this stuff down. This had way more pages to this. This had way more pages to they took a lot of it down. Man. Hey God, yeah. They took a lot of this stuff down because where I was just at on that page, where I was just at on that Instagram, they had like 18 different pictures of him and different text messages. You know, it's messed up what happened to Nolan. Where's Nolan? But hey man, this is what it is, people. But this is a straight up cover up. It's a cover up, and it's starting with the judge. The FBI should be the ones taking care of this and not trusting Mississippi to handle this case because it's been bungled. All the evidence is messed up. The crime scenes are messed up, right? They said the man's body was so decomposed, they could not determine a cause of death. But the question you need to ask is, where is Mississippi's autopsy? That's the question we need to ask. Where's Mississippi's autopsy? But guys, you guys got any questions about this? If you got any questions, go ahead and throw them out there, man. Let me get at them before I get up out of here, because I want to get up here and stream this live for you guys. You know, been moving and grooving, dropping content, getting the channel up, getting the channel a little bit bigger, better. You know, as you see, you guys didn't think I could make videos on my computers, but I got like 5 computers right here, literally. So you guys gonna start getting it on the computer. Busy man. So glad we got their times. Almost up. We got next. You damn right we got next. Supposedly they're waiting on the toxicology results for releasing the autopsy report. Okay. Guys, as far as autopsies are concerned, I do want you to know this. It is not a common practice to wait for a toxicology report before they release the autopsy, because if he passed, let's just say, I'm not saying he did, but let's just say Nolan Wells is using narcotics. Okay. They can tell you at the autopsy if he passed away from using narcotics. But when you get your toxicology, it's going to tell you how much was in your system. They can tell how long you have been using a certain type of narcotic or narcotics or whatever. It's just more detailed. But they would know from the get-go if there was foul play. Like, for instance, they knew that he had bruising in his head. You can't hide it. They knew if he had water in his lungs. They knew if he had water in his lungs. They ain't spoke about that yet. So, guys, here's the kicker. If it comes back when you hear the, see, because basically, Benjamin Crump just told you that the, hold up, my bad. Benjamin Crump just told you, that basically the body was not in a good enough condition for the coroner out in DC to get to tell you the cause of death and what happened. That's basically what he said, all in a nutshell. But Mississippi, they had the body fresh. So they could tell you if it was water in the lungs. They should be able to tell you about the blow to his head, where that came from. They should be able to tell you about his throat. They should be able to produce pictures of him. And on a further note, on another note, his parents, even though his parents knew that this is my son, right, that passed away, they let you come in and see your son. They let his parents come in and see that body when they found it. They let you come in and see the body. And I said it to say this. If he had any bruising around his neck at that time, because Nolan kind of light-skinned it. If he had any bruising around his neck, yeah, exactly, Michelle, they would know. Chip bones, bruising, guys, and not for nothing, Michelle, that like you can compare this to the Epstein case, because Epstein did not take a rope and unalive himself. He did not make no rope and unalive himself. That's not how it's done. That's not how it's done in jail. When you unalive yourself, Michelle, like us talking about the bones in his neck, when people unalive themselves in jail, they simply tie something that goes around their neck, because you can't tie nothing to a bar and unalive yourself. They basically tie to a bedpost, get on their knees, and they just lean forward like that, and pretty soon they just fall asleep. I'm not gonna say what it is, but if you know what autoerotic asphyxiation is, then you're gonna know what I'm talking about. Autoerotic asphyxiation. That is a sexual fetish. Autoerotic asphyxiation, where people actually literally make a device to put around their neck and almost pass out while they're doing a sexual act. And they said it's supposed to give them some type of rush. But a lot of times people hurt themselves and unalive themselves doing this. So even with Epstein had chipped bones in his neck. He had chipped bones in his neck and bruising. He would have never had that if he had unalived himself the proper way that people do. But if something was pulled around him and applied pressure, he would have chipped bones. But they didn't bring, same thing with Epstein. So they didn't provide any of this in the Nolan Wells case, y'all. So this is why I cry foul. So what we need to be doing as people is we need to be pressing Mississippi, because if it's something that could prove that that it wasn't any foul play, they would have hurried up and came out and said that to get the heat off of their back. But being that he had some bruising to his head, and God only knows what's up with his neck, and if they say he didn't have any water in his lungs, and then if he did have water in his lungs, I wonder who's documenting this stuff. He could have water in his lungs and they could just say he didn't. And when the body got to where it needed to get, it wasn't no water in his lungs. Man, this thing could get spin a million different ways, man. But I don't believe this man passed away from natural reasons. He was unalived. Right. They didn't mention brain hemorrhaging, but they did mention what they did, but they didn't. You know what, Michelle? And I don't mean to talk bad about Benjamin Crump. He doesn't speak like the most intelligent person in the world. He doesn't speak very intellectual to be an attorney and sitting on TV. You gotta understand, a lot of this shit is for publicity. And then you got Reverend Al Sharpton up there, man. And Reverend Al Sharpton is nothing more than Reverend Al Sharpton is nothing but a fucking D-boy. Man, I can show you a video of Reverend Al Sharpton trying to buy 10 kilograms of booger sugar and became a DEA informant. So a lot of people are doing this stuff for publicity. Hold on one second, man. Y'all sit with me. Don't go nowhere. Stay right there. Okay, God, man. You know what? While I'm here, let me and then let me show y'all something about see, because I'm trying to get y'all to understand, man. Everybody ain't on here, man. They not on here because they really give a fuck, man. A lot of people, they just want some publicity, like Reverend Al Sharpton. Let me show you about Reverend Al Sharpton real quick. Let me show you about Reverend Al Sharpton real quick. Let's go over here, man. Come on. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let me show y'all about Reverend Al Sharpton right quick. Hold up.
Website is reporting that the Reverend Al Sharpton, aka President Obama's #1 cheerleader, that he worked as an FBI informant spying on New York mob figures back in the 1980s. Now, the report, which was featured on the cover of today's New York Post, said Sharpton secretly recorded conversations that he had with the mob. Earlier today, he responded to those allegations during a press conference. Take a look.
I was not and am not a rat because I wasn't with the rats. I was never told I was an informant with a number. So in my own mind, I was not an informant. I was cooperating with investigations.
Now, tonight, we also have gotten our hands on an HBO Sports video of an undercover FBI agent acting as a drug trafficker negotiating a cocaine deal with none other than Al Sharpton himself. Take a look at this.
I can get a on 99 for about 35,000 a kilo, but I gotta get more than one. Right. I mean, if we're gonna do this thing, no, you talking about some real. I mean, 10 kilograms is like it's 350,000. That's a drop in the bucket. We can go bigger. Every kilogram we bring in 3,500 kilos. Oh, that's not. So if we bring in 10, we make 35,000. But that's a chicken pocket. He can. What he's going to do, he'll do what we're going to do. He can do it, 100 times over. Might go supply it 100 times over.
Now, that video is reportedly from 1983, and after it aired, Al Sharpton threatened to sue HBO for millions of dollars.
For Comedy Hype News, I'm Sim.
Now, you see what I'm saying? By the people that's representing him, a lot of these people just want some publicity, y'all. Publicity. It ain't that they really care. You got Tyler Perry didn't pay for the funeral. He's trying to get the heat off of his ass. He's trying to get the heat off his ass for this $62 million lawsuit that he got on him. You got Colin Kaepernick, who paid for the body to get sent to Washington, D.C. And I'm here to tell you, as a Vegas native, Colin Kaepernick didn't even fuck with black people when he went to Nevada, Reno. He didn't even fuck with black people. And being a diehard 49ers fan, I felt some type of way when he grew an afro, and all of a sudden he wants to explore his black side and never have been treated wrong for being black. Didn't fuck with black people when he was in college, and then fuck it. I mean, goddamn, we could have won another Super Bowl if he had put that type of energy into it. But all I'm telling you this, people just want publicity being connected to this case. Terrell Owens is washed up. They want publicity to be on this case, man. Hey, if they want to put out a reward, man, hey, I got family members who have been murdered that they still is not unsolved, but they're not going to put no reward out to find any of your family members killer and mine either, man. So be careful of the things that you guys watch and put up in your ears, man. Everybody's not for you, because the parents that sit up there, man, dumbfounded. They're getting taken advantage of. They got to go fund me. I feel bad for them. But this is Crump, man. He's just getting business for himself. Can you dig what I'm saying, man? Hey, man, but before I get out of here, man, do you guys have any questions? Do you got any questions before I get up out of here? Because I wanted y'all to see this, and make sure y'all share this live. Any questions before I get up out of here, people?
Well, I got this one friend that I haven't seen in a while. But I know I could if I wanted to. But it was him. He's like, bad baby. speaker cut off. But yeah, he literally was real submissive. Like he would let me do whatever I want to. And at first, you know, it just started out like playful. Like his fantasy was he wanted me to like he would love to eat my ass. Like that was one of his favorite things. Like,
Any questions, guys?
he would love to eat my ass. And his fantasy was he wanted to do it while a lot of people watched, whether it be my friends, whatever, whoever. And then, you know, I noticed like he started being more, you know, more kinkier, more freakier. He was like really into like ass play. And then it just started.
Are the people in prison being treated from and
you know, and then I see how wet he would get.
and smiles? I didn't understand what you said. Could you say it again, please?
Toys, and you know, just went from there. You know, just I don't know. So that's definitely somebody I have in mind. Then I got a friend, which is a female. She's real freaky like that too. You know. So I got, you know, a few people, but I have people all the time, you know, telling me all the things they want to do to me or how submissive they would be. They'll let me do whatever I want.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, it's a whole man. Yeah, it's a whole lot of people having encounters with Diddy up in there, man. You got to remember, man, you are who you are. And what I mean by that, when I say you are who you are, Diddy, man, you know, the man was hooked on drugs. See, one thing about crystal methamphetamine take you over to the rainbow side of the community. This is something that Diddy was on. And as he sits in there, of course, people are having encounters with him. You know, you think he in there, man? You think he in there not having intercourse and he's not having relations? You know, when you see that freak off tape that was released, he was more interested in Sly Diggler. If you notice the camera, he was more interested in him. So, you know, he's definitely doing that, man. Crump is Raccoon Man. There you go. Now, see, that's what I'm talking about, Raccoon. Crump is doing no favors to the family, but to confuse and mislead them. And that is what he's doing. That's what he's doing. He's misleading the family, and he's getting his props. So I need y'all to really understand that. So, you know, I just ask that you guys don't jump to conclusions. Don't always make this a black and white thing, but look at the facts that you have sitting in front of you. You know, if you ain't listening to the police talk about it, if you're not listening to Benjamin Crump talk about it, if you're not listening to the friend's actual audio, because there's a video of the judge's son telling a story, and it's out there. You can watch that. If you're not looking at firsthand stuff, don't make a conclusion, man. Because like I said, or if you're going to deal with somebody's channel, it ain't even got to be my channel. But I only come on here and speak about real shit. I'm not going to come on here and mislead you. I'm not going to clickbait you. I'm not going to lie to you, not intentionally. I'm going to come at you with facts. That's why I have not even done a live, because I've been waiting for this autopsy report. I'm not finna what if. You notice I ain't did no what ifs. I'm only laying the facts out. And that's all we can do right now is just deal with the facts. But other than that, man, you know, if you guys don't have any questions, man, I'm going to get out of here, man. You know, I want you guys to know, God bless you. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. You know, man, I'm leaving that type of content. I don't like to fuck with the whole low vibrational stuff. I like to talk about real topics. Yeah, this case has been fumbled majorly. I've been saying that from the get-go. Just remember this, people, because nobody really wants to hear this until it affects their home. When you find a dead body, it is to be treated as a homicide until proven otherwise. It is to be treated as a homicide. We talking yellow tape, not being in the crime scene, the handling of the body, evidence. There's a chain of custody for evidence. That means his parents, Nolan Wells' parents should have been gave that phone up. But they're over here with Benjamin Crump. Oh, well, you know, we're going to both go through it. So what if you don't trust the police? Give them the phone. because all you got to do is open up an iCloud and get them a new one. You can have a clone of the phone. That's simple. You can have that phone cloned, and you don't even need to have the actual phone to go through what's in the phone. You don't even need the phone. You do not have to physically have this phone to go through this phone. You don't even have to have it. All you need is the phone number. So that's a lesson for those of y'all out here committing crime. Don't think just because you might do what you do and break the phone, or you do what you do and throw it in the water. It doesn't matter, man. This is the age of technology. They can pull that shit off that phone, man. Before I get up out of here, man, let me tell y'all a story about this phone stuff. I always like to tell y'all a story. Oh yeah, so Michelle, here's what's gonna happen. This is what I predict that's gonna happen. Nobody's gonna end up getting arrested for this, right? Nobody's gonna end up getting arrested. Nolan Wells' parents will end up suing civilly and getting a large chunk of money. A large chunk of money. And they will end up coming up with some type of law because of this. They call that a blood law. That's something somebody has to pass away in order for this to happen. You understand what I'm saying? Somebody has to pass away in order for something to take place, because this has been fumbled from day one. So whatever evidence, man, that shit is tainted. Everything is tainted. How can you even, if somebody was arrested, how could you even have a trial in this town where the judge runs shit, the DA, the owner of the grocery store, they all live in the same neighborhood? I ain't saying it's a black and white thing, but you couldn't even have a fair trial over here because everything is tainted. Everything is tainted. Everything about this. Nolan Wells' body is tainted. The phone is tainted. All the evidence is tainted. So this is why I tell you guys to get out here and fucking vote. Vote. Because it can happen to you in your state. You need to vote for your DA. You need to vote for your sheriff, which controls the police department. You need to vote for your judges, because this could very well be one of your relatives and the case get fucked off. Because I'm here to tell you, man, before they go put one of these damn white judges in fucking the penitentiary in Mississippi of all places. Mississippi is, my parents were born and raised in Louisiana, right next to Mississippi. My parents picked cotton for 2 cents a pound. My mother would have been 74. My dad is 73. I wish I could get him on here to talk about it, but he won't get on camera. But in Django, no. Shout out Django, man. I've been in and out of town. I'm gonna get with you, Django. I've been doing a lot of traveling. Just had my family reunion last week. Family still here from Louisiana. But Django, no, man. Django out the South, he could tell you. Before they arrest one of these a judge for this, it ain't gonna happen. Everything is tainted. Same thing with the Alec Murdaugh trial, people. It's the same type of shit with the Alec Murdaugh trial. When Paul Murdaugh driving drunk on the boat. Now, if anybody is held responsible as we speak, anybody, it's the person driving that boat. It's the person driving that boat, because here's another narrative. They could have been sitting here playing around on that damn boat and left that man out there like, we gonna leave him on the island. You know how people play practical jokes. And I ain't saying they did it because he was black, because if the man had been getting mistreated because he was black, right? If he felt any mistreatment just because he was black, all his friends wouldn't have been white. He had a couple black friends, but when you look through all of the pictures, he was a black dude who hung out with a lot of white people. He might have grew up with nothing but white people. Shit, when I was growing up, I dated nothing but mostly mixed girls, light-skinned, long-ass curly hair. Not because that's all I like, but that's what I went to school with, was a bunch of mixed girls. So that's who I hung out with. Same thing with Nolan. He hangs out with bunch of white boys. That's how he grew up. You did? So, I mean, but the South is the South. But other than that, guys, man, I want to thank you guys, man, for joining this live. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Man, use your own mind of thinking and apply a little bit of common sense, and don't spin them false narratives. Guys, and if you got any proof, hey, man, shoot it to me, man. I love to make a video about it if it makes sense. But other than that, man, y'all have a blessed day. Be safe. Hey, and teach your kids to take care of themselves when they are out and about. I don't care what color people are. Because if Nolan Wells hadn't been out drinking in the first place, which because he wasn't 21, he'd still be alive. Now I want you to marinate on that fact, because that's some real food for thought. If he had not been drinking to begin with, because he wasn't old enough to be drinking, he never would have been out there and he'd still be alive. His parents were saying, oh, no, not my son. My son, Mom, I know my son wasn't out doing X, Y, and Z because he had these football stuff going on Monday. Well, I guess they didn't know what they was talking about, did they? Hey, man, but what do I know? I'm Coach One Stack. Other than that, man, I love y'all, man. God bless you and have a blessed day, church.